Football Prodigy's Revenge, Band Teen to World Cup Hero. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 101. The defensive line torn apart by Chu Feng, with the volley to break the door. Lukaku watched Chu Feng's long-range shot. I thought about the grass. This boy is really fierce, this can be montaged. Then Lukaku started with another classic back foot to pass the ball back to midfielder Barkley and start the attack. After a series of passes, Lukaku had picked up the ball with his back in the Leicester City penalty area. But Morgana was behind Lukaku to keep him from turning. Luka gave up the forced turn that was easy to lose the ball. Instead, he knocked the ball back to left winger Arunicone on the left side of the penalty area. After Arunicone took the ball, the three Leicester City players began to approach. Arunicone sent the ball into the box with a long, straight pass. Right winger Deferu shrugged off fullback Fox and headed for the ball. But Arunicone's pass was a bit big, and Deferu tried his best not to catch up with the football. Football has also rolled out of the bottom line. Subsequently, goalkeeper Casper sent the ball to Morgan. The Everton players didn't turn back, with striker Arunicone and midfielder Barkley starting to press Morgan. Morgan passed the ball to Andy King. Andy King carried the ball on his back, because Everton's back Barry, in the back ready to rush, did not dare to turn around. The ball could only be picked up and passed to backcourt fullback Fox, who unloaded the ball with his right foot and unloaded it a little too much. He was cut off by Deulofeu's outstretched foot and poked the ball into the box. Centre forward Romelu Lukaku was on the edge of the penalty area and shin-footed helped to make the ball, flicking the ball towards the right side of the penalty area. Help before inserting Deulofeu to catch the ball better. Deulofeu, on the right side of the penalty area, caught up with the ball and chose to shoot directly at Leicester City back point, Basilewski, who was chasing after the goal, directly sliding shovel in hopes of intercepting the ball. But Deulofeu played resolutely, and Basilewski slowed down the ball or flew towards the goal. Fortunately, goalkeeper Casper reacted in time to save the ball directly. Just 2 minutes later, Everton back Barry opened wide at Everton's backfield and sent the ball into Leicester into the half. Everton midfielder Barkley jumped to the top and knocked the ball to Lukaku on the right and pulled the ball straight into the bottom line. Striker Deulofeu hurried down to the bottom of the possession. After catching up with the football, passed the ball directly inverted triangle. Everton's high-speed forward-bound back cleverly drew the defense of other players. But he slipped the ball out of his feet. Lukaku, who ran to the middle, was already in an undefended position, and Lukaku shot directly with his feet, and the ball was hit into the stands. There was an exclamation from Everton home fans. Lukaku stood awkwardly, then thumbs up and nodded to Deulofeu. It shows that Deulofeu's foot inverted triangle pass is good. Immediately, Everton launched another offensive. Everton back Barry carried the ball in a midfield scuffle with golfers and Leicester City defenders. Directly kicked straight into the suspension and send the ball into the box. Lukaku in the middle of the road began to accelerate, and Lukaku could have extended his left foot as hard as he could, but still did not touch the ball, and the ball was directly confiscated by goalkeeper Casper. Lukaku looked back at Barry and shook his head, as if to indicate that I am not Chu Feng you passed so big, considering that I win 200 pounds of meat horses? There was a little joy on the face of the Everton coach on the sidelines, and Everton's continuous attack seemed to have no chance to attack Leicester City. Has been suppressed by Everton players in the half. And the Everton players are just a little bit of luck every time they attack, so Leicester City will play sooner or later to be breached. On the other side, Ranieri, on the other hand, felt that the pace of the game was no longer right, and after scoring a goal, Leicester City basically did not launch a decent attack. If this continues, it will definitely be equalized. John's Premier League broadcast station. Barry sent the ball into the box with a long pass, Lukaku struggled to chase it and there was still a certain distance, and the ball was confiscated by the goalkeeper. In a short period of time, Everton launched round after round of attacks, and under the pressure of the high position, Leicester City did not launch a decent attack. Leicester City was fierce in the previous game, and the sharp attack could not be beaten. The development of the game is getting worse and worse for Leicester City. The commentator expresses his opinion on the game. Fans in front of the TV. What's going on in Leicester? How long have you been surrounded and attacked by Everton? Now Leicester City is starting to put up buses. Leicester City must be having a physical problem. How long have they been playing in a lineup? Definitely in defense now to ensure physical fitness. Sleeper, Leicester City won't be spoiled by Everton's undefeated record, right? However, the unbeaten records of many strong teams are not destroyed by strong teams. I don't believe it. Chu Feng physical demon. How could there be no physical fitness? Wait, Chu Feng is about to punch you in the face. Fans in front of the TV set were debating whether Leicester City had chosen to defend because of lack of physical fitness. 20 minutes of the game. After Leicester City broke the ball at the back, send the ball to the John Ayew Blair's feet. Faced with the pressure of two Everton players, the ball was directly tucked into Kanté in the middle. Kanté sent the ball directly to Chu Feng on the left. Chu Feng accelerated with the ball and rushed into the Everton half. In front of Chu Feng, cleverly had his back to Chu Feng. Born with his left foot, he hoped to destroy the football under Chu Feng's feet. Chu Feng fixed the ball with his left foot, then turned around and continued to take the ball to the left to carry the fallen cleverly forward. Coleman, who was following behind, pulled Chu Feng with his hand, and after Chu Feng's right hand was thrown away, he continued to move forward. But Chu Feng's speed was destroyed. Coleman continued to pull Chu Feng. There was no way. Chu Feng directly crossed the ball across the middle of the road. Coleman fell to the ground trying to destroy the pass, but fell slowly and the ball had flown to the middle. Mahrez, who was plugged in from behind the middle, didn't adjust either, before Everton defenders could get around. Mahrez volleyed straight into the air and hit the goal. Everton goalkeeper Howard flew to the save, but it slowed down and the ball had already flown into the net. Goal. The ball is in. Mahrez slid to the side of the field on his knees, and his teammates who rushed behind him also came to hug and celebrate. Episode 102. Free kick shot. Chu Feng scored and became an assist. Goodison Park. Mahrez and his teammates celebrated the goal. Everton coach Martinez on the sidelines had a look of consternation in his eyes as Everton launched so many attacks into the heart of Leicester City. But he didn't score a single goal. Leicester City has only scored twice, scoring both times and scoring on the other side. Ranieri breathed a long sigh of relief. After leading by 2 points, the possibility of being reversed is very small. John's Premier League broadcast station. A steal in Leicester City's backfield. Faced with Everton's counter-attack, Albrighton passed the ball to Kanté. Kanté shoved the ball straight into Chu Feng. Chu Feng began to accelerate with the ball, and in the face of Clay Willey's interception, Chu Feng completed a Marseille slalom and cleverly fell to the ground. Chu Feng continued to charge towards the penalty area with the ball, and it was difficult for Chu Feng to accelerate under Everton fullback Coleman's constant disturbance. The referee didn't blow fouls. Chu Feng continued to move forward, and Chu Feng passed the ball inverted to Mahrez in the middle. Mahrez raised his foot and fired angrily. Goalkeeper Howard couldn't save, the ball went into the net. Mahrez has done a great job for Leicester City. Leicester City, 2-0 Everton. Although Chu Feng did not complete the score this breakthrough, he still tore open Everton's defense line and helped his teammates score goals. The narrator explained excitedly. The players in front of the TV set also began to tout Chu Feng. Who just said it was going to be dangerous? Chu Feng will help his teammates score goals with one shot. Everton scored for more than a minute without breaking through Leicester City's gate, and Leicester City scored twice, scoring both times, which is the difference between the strong team and the weak team. Everton's ability to seize opportunities is too poor. Either the last pass is not good, or the ability to finish is not good. In the end, it is still Chu Feng's. 28th minute of the match. Everton recreated the danger for the Leicester City goal. Everton stormed the Leicester City penalty area. Centre-back Morgan kicked the siege, but not far away. The ball was unloaded by Arunicone on the left side of the penalty area and was ready to shoot when two Leicester City centre-backs, Morgan, Basilewski with his hands behind his back, blocked the firing line. Arunicone had no choice but to cross the ball across the middle. The football was disrupted by Leicester City's player in the middle of the penalty area, Andy King, who singled out of the box. Cleverly, who rushed from the back of the right, volleyed straight into the air. Hit the far left corner of the goal. Goalkeeper Casper failed to make a save in the small penalty area. Unfortunately, the ball brushed the upright slightly off. Facing his own unlucky Cleverly, his hands were crossed at his waist, and he was now shaking his head in place. Coach Martinez on the sidelines slapped the armrest of the seat very well. Originally, he looked at the trajectory of the football and thought that the ball had been scored, but he did not expect that it was a little worse. Didn't all Everton players wear shooting boots today? The loud cheers of Everton's home fans when Cleverly shot just after him also turned into a sigh. Probably because they have been locked up defensively for too long. Leicester City, although leading by 2 points, has also begun to play its own rhythm of attack. 32nd minute of the match. Chu Feng took the ball from the middle road into the hinterland of Everton, facing the dense defense created by multiple defenders in the middle. Chu Feng sent the ball directly to the edge of the right side of the penalty area with a long pass. Mahrez stepped in and fired a direct shot at the goal. The ball was sent into the Everton fan stands and hit a man who quickly grabbed the ball. Only then did he hold on to his dizzy head. Leicester City began a high-level pressing. Everton fullback Coleman passed the ball to back cleverly. Clay Willie faces Chu Feng's coercion. Passed the ball back to centre-back Murray. Murray pressed the ball to fullback Burge, who was able to keep the ball under the pressure of Vardy and was able to keep the ball even though it was a bit far. But when Bainch suddenly started, his left foot slipped and he almost fell to the ground, as he adjusted his body balance and rushed to the football. Mahrez, who arrived at the same time as him, had already grabbed the ball and charged towards the penalty area. Mahrez was stuck at the back of Barry and could only leak the ball to watch Barry go down, but the ball passed to Andy King on the edge of the penalty area. Andy King crossed the ball across the middle. Vardy controlled the ball, adjusted his body and shot at goal, and centre-back Stones stretched out his feet to block the ball. 41st minute of the match. Everton's right led Eurofeu dribbled into Leicester City's half and was overwhelmed by Chu Feng. Chu Feng took the ball towards the middle of the road and began to accelerate, just after halftime. Everton back cleverly directly kicked Chu Feng down, and the football was also kicked away. Everton's players knew that if Chu Feng raised his speed, facing their front-pressed backline, it would be easy for Chu Feng to eat raw with speed. A single knife is then formed, so fouls are the best solution. Referee Jonathan Moss did not hesitate to give Clay Willie a citron card. Alberton took the free kick and Alberton sent the ball into the box with a long, direct pass. Vardy in the penalty area is also vying for the football's landing point. Everton centre-back Murray jumped up and knocked the ball out of the box. Chu Feng jumped up and stopped the ball with his chest. Then moved towards the exclusion zone. Fullback Coleman, once again knocking Chu Feng to the ground, seemed that the only way to face Chu Feng Everton was to foul. Not surprisingly, Coleman also received a citron card from the referee. A free kick was awarded. Chu Feng stood behind the ball and bowed his head. Slowly adjust your breathing. Chu Feng directly slammed the door. The ball passed through the wall and flew to the right side of the goal. Goalkeeper Howard flew to save but badly rubbed Vardy's shoulder to Chu Feng's ball towards the goal. The ball refracted and changed direction. Fly straight to the middle of the goal, although goalkeeper Howard fell to the ground and tried to raise his right foot as much as possible. But the football still flew into the net. Goal. Because Vardy inserted this time, Chu Feng's possible goal became an assist, but the goalkeeper saved the right direction, and if the original trajectory was followed, it was also possible to be saved by the goalkeeper. So Chu Feng went from scoring a goal twice to an assist to scoring a good Vardy. Episode 104. Without Chu Feng, they would have failed. Summer Kingdom. Premier League Studio. Chu Feng and Baldi had a wonderful anti-offside cooperation, directly throwing off Everton's backline and forming a single knife. Chu Feng shook the goalkeeper. Yes. Chu Feng picked the goal. The goal is. Chu Feng has completed the second degree of Meikai. Help Leicester City take a 4-0 lead over Everton. There's not much time left for Everton, and maybe they want it to be over soon. Jean Jun explained excitedly. The bullet screen in the live broadcast room was also full of bullet screens, congratulating Chu Feng on his goal. Chu Feng. Double hat-trick again. Chu Feng bull forced to play the whole back line. Chu Feng. 82nd minute of the match. Everton launched its already counter-attack around the Leicester City penalty area. Defender Barry hoisted a long pass into the box on the left side of the penalty area. 2 Everton players and 4 Leicester City defenders in the penalty area are preparing to jump to the top. Centre-back Morgan lifted the ball up, but not far from the line. Another Everton back lifted the ball up from outside the box. When Leicester City defender Basilewski forced a jump to fight for the top, he did not top the ball and fell to the ground. 4 players around are waiting for the football to fall again 980 times. Striker Deulofeu thrust the ball into the air again. When the ball fell again, it was finally pushed up by midfielder Barkley, at the feet of Barry in the penalty area. Danny Simpson was sticking to Barry ready to destroy the ball. Barry directly kicked the ball out and let the football slowly roll towards the bottom line. Previous striker Deulofeu has plugged in to control the ball. A single knife is formed. Fortunately, goalkeeper Casper struck early, sticking to Deulofeu, completely blocking all angles. Deulofeu forced a shot that hit Casper's body and popped into the box. Leicester City midfielder Alberton drove the ball wide back into Everton half. 2 minutes later, Everton midfielder Barkley delivered a brilliant pass. The ball passed through Lukaku's feet, attracting Leicester City's defenders closer, but Lukaku, who was on his back, did not see the ball and did not react when the ball passed under his feet. Football rolls straight to the bottom line. Everton striker Deulofeu thrust forward at high speed to chase the bottom line. Deulofeu directly chose the inverted triangle backhaul. Lukaku received the ball and swept it vigorously in front of the goal. Goalkeeper Casper pounced on the near corner. The ball swept past and rolled towards the far corner of the goal. Goal. Finally, after many attacks, Everton finally ushered in the harvest. Although the goal has not changed the outcome of the game. But Lukaku rushed to the sidelines to start celebrating. Maybe they just wanted to tell the fans that they could break the Leicester City gates. Martinez on the sidelines also breathed a long sigh of relief and finally entered one, without letting Ranieri complete a clean sheet. Ranieri's face is flat, and the so-called hope of being able to keep a clean sheet against the opponent this season is certainly not as good as winning all the time. John's Premier League broadcast station. Barkley gave the ball to Lukaku with a clever pass, and Lukaku didn't catch the ball and the ball missed. Deulofeu thrust forward to the bottom line at high speed, inverted triangle pass, and put the ball. Lukaku swept the goal with great force, goalkeeper Casper failed to save and the ball rolled into the far corner. The goal is. After a number of attacks in Everton's game, he finally scored through Romelu Lukaku. The score came to 1-4. But Everton are still 3 points behind Leicester City at home. After the commentator excitedly explained the goal, he still expressed the reality that Everton's winning percentage was slim. Premier League viewers discussed. Do you say that Lukaku didn't see the ball, or did he cooperate in advance? Everton's loss was not too ugly, and the game has repeatedly besieged Leicester City in the penalty area, although it has scored once. Ranieri's clean sheet plan failed again, ha ha ha. I think Lukaku played very well in this game, although he scored 1 goal, but he helped his teammates to do a lot of goals, and Lukaku can look forward to the future. The last minute of regular time. Everton striker Deulofeu has advanced to the Leicester City bottom line. Midfielder Andy King and Danny Son stepped forward to press for it. Deulofeu was entangled for a long time before finally turning around and getting rid of it. Then take the ball one step at a time to adjust. A strong pass from near the sideline into the penalty area. Leicester City centre-back Morgan jumped up front, but Arunicone, whose ball was too high to touch the back post in the penalty area, did not touch the ball. Let the ball cross directly past the goalkeeper. This opportunity was wasted. It was Everton's last attack of the game. The Leicester City players did not give Everton a chance to rush through the half in 4 minutes of stoppage time, and the Everton City gate was constantly threatened by the Leicester City players. Referee Jonathan Moss blew the end of the game. In the end, Everton lost 4-1 at home to Leicester City. When Chu Feng walked towards the player passage, Lukaku, the big black man, ran to Chu Feng and expressed to him the idea of exchanging jerseys. In the face of this future star, Chu Feng did not refuse and exchanged jerseys with Lukaku. Reporters stopped Everton head coach Martinez and walked against him after the game. Hello Coach Martinez, do you have anything to say about today's result? What do you think of Lukaku, who helped you score your only goal today? Martinez replied with a bitter smile, I have to say that today's match result, I am definitely not satisfied. If Leicester City did not have Chu Feng, we may have won. Lukaku is a very good player and you can see from his game today that many of the dangers in front of Leicester City gates were created by Lukaku and he will have a rather bright future in the future. Martinez answered and turned to leave. The reporter continued to run towards Ranieri, who was passing by. A reporter asked, Coach Ranieri, hello, just now Coach Martinez said that if there is no Chu Feng, they will win. What do you think about that? Ranieri replied with a smile, even without Chu Feng, they besieged us for so long and didn't score a goal. I remember that I didn't have a defensive item in the taskbar for Chu Feng. After saying that, Ranieri turned and left. As for Chu Feng, Hui more according to the rune law, to receive his 400,000 yuan went. Episode 105. Expedition to Liverpool of the Red Army. With the end of the 17th round of the Premier League, Leicester City continue their 17-round unbeaten run. Chu Feng continued his record of scoring goals in 13 consecutive Premier League matches. And because of Everton's play in this game also made some news headlines. Leicester City beat Everton away. Leicester City has been repeatedly suppressed and besieged by Everton. Is Leicester City in a physical dilemma? Everton against Leicester City is excellent on the surface, attacking and suppressing Leicester City many times. Leicester City completed 17 league rounds unbeaten. After watching the highlights of this game, some fans have also begun to express their own views. Chu Feng is really awesome. 13 consecutive rounds of scoring goals have been creating a record for consecutive goals. Hurry up, this game Leicester City has been suppressed in the play, but Leicester City has a better ability to seize the opportunity, basically as long as it is past half-time to score goals. Maybe Leicester City's physical reserves really don't work. I see they can't run a few times. No way, with that head coach playing halfway through a squad, some of Leicester City's players are seriously understaffed. Except for Chu Feng. Chu Feng's physical fitness is crazy. I can't understand him, an Asian. Every game is the most running, but every game seems to have physical fitness. Regardless of what the outside world says, Leicester City players are indeed doing physical recovery training. Many players have really experienced a serious decline in physical reserves. Chu Feng did maintain a good physical reserve. After all, his endurance ability value was already 90, and he also had a passive recovery skill on the field. Although Chu Feng did not miss a Leicester City game, his physical reserves were still quite good. The lack of physical reserves of the internal players has caused Ranieri to worry about Leicester City's next game against the strong opponents. Although even if you lose, it will not affect the honor of the team that has already won the half-distance championship. But the undefeated record is certainly one more game. So Ranieri attaches great importance to the physical recovery training of the players. Every training day is quite attentive. John's Kingdom, December 26. Leicester City is on an expedition to Liverpool. Liverpool Football Club has also been established for 100 years. It has had many glorious years, and has also fallen into the trough many times. Liverpool are one of the most successful clubs in the history of John's football and one of the most successful football clubs in Europe and the world. By the time Chu Feng went on an expedition to Liverpool, Liverpool had won 18 English top league titles, 7 FA Cups, 8 English League Cups, and 15 Community Shields. 5-time UEFA Champions League, including the UEFA Champions Club Cup. 3-time UEFA Europa League, including the UEFA Cup. 3 UEFA Super Cups and 1 FIFA Club World Cup. The glory days have filled Liverpool's honour room with trophies. Although Liverpool's record last season was not good, the emergence of new coach Klopp is also a hope for the future of this team. After a turbulent period of coaching this season, Liverpool will quickly return to the top of Europe. Therefore, Chu Feng's opponent's strength this time could not be underestimated. And Chu Feng has a reason to win, and this season can only be sure that there are only 2 chances to meet Liverpool. If Liverpool are not beaten twice, then Chu Feng's strong physique 5 will stay at 5 forever. At this time, Chu Feng had already taken the team bus to the port city of Liverpool in Merseyside. The game has not yet begun, and many news outlets have already made headlines about the game. Can Leicester City's expedition to Liverpool, the Reds, continue the unbeaten record? Leicester City players lack physical fitness. Will there be a rout against Liverpool? Chu Feng meets Hao Chong again. Can he reproduce the Hao case? Liverpool take on the physically deficient Leicester City or become the only team to win the Big Six? As soon as the news came out, it caused a huge heat, and the fans all discussed the game that was about to start. Leicester City must lose this game. Lack of physical fitness in the face of Liverpool's high pressing is definitely pierced. It is. Even if Chu Feng could enter again, Leicester City could not hold on to it. Leicester City is finally about to end their unbeaten record. Think about it and get a little excited. Don't blow it, Chu Feng is invincible. The stronger Chu Feng faced, the better the state. I conservatively estimated that Chu Feng scored 4 goals in this game. As the bus pulls into Anfield Stadium, countless flashes kept flashing, and when Chu Feng slowly stepped off the bus, many fans were constantly shouting Chu Feng. Chu Feng kept waving to the fans, nodding his head in greeting, expressing his gratitude to him. Pre-match press conference. Reporters began questioning Klopp. Hello Klopp, what do you think of today's game? Are you confident of winning? Klopp replied, I've seen Leicester City play, and they're very strong. So there's going to be a really good game at Anfield today, and I'll try to win. Another reporter asked, "Hello, Klopp head coach. Do you have any thoughts on Leicester City's lack of physical reserves?" "Well, that's what the Ranieri manager is thinking about. I only have no proof answer to Liverpool's responsibility, Klopp. If the positive answer, even if it wins Leicester City in the end, it will be said that it is not a victory, it is better not to answer." Another reporter asked, "Coach Klopp, do you have any thoughts about Chu Feng, a player?" Klopp replied with a smile, "I have watched Chu Feng's matches with other big success, and I have to admit that Chu Feng is indeed a top player now. His finishing ability, offensive organization ability, are the top. He is fully capable of competing with Mero. Yes, I would like to say that I very much welcome Chu Feng to Liverpool and I will lead him to the top of Europe now." Klopp ended the pre-match press conference after experiencing several issues. Reporters asked if Ranieri would lose the game because of lack of fitness. "My team will try to win, thank you." Ranieri did not want to tangle with the reporter and directly turned away from the 9. Episode 106. Trident only has a halberd. Inside the player channel. Chu Feng saw Liverpool's future gallop to the continent of Europe, one of the three-pronged were of Gorg Phil Milo. Now he's still playing an attacking midfielder, and in the future, Klopp will transform him into a pseudo 9. As Chu Feng stepped into the Anfield Stadium, the red stands were filled with fans in red jerseys, like a sea of red. Liverpool fans sing Liverpool Golden Team song "You'll Never Walk Alone." "And you'll never walk alone. You will never go alone. You'll never walk alone. You will never go alone. Walkin'. Let's go, let's go. With a pain in her heart. Hope in my heart." Chu Feng could feel the tragedy in the song, and there was an inexplicable touch. Summer Kingdom. A Premier League broadcast room. Hello friends from the audience, welcome to the 18th round of the Premier League this season brought by UEFA Sports. I am Jean June, the commentator of this game. The two sides of the tournament in this round are Leicester City and the Reds Liverpool. Liverpool's home stadium, Anfield, is already full of more than 50,000 fans, and Liverpool fans are singing the team song "You'll Never Walk Alone." Players from both sides have stepped into Anfield Stadium, and after 17 rounds of the Premier League, Leicester City have won 15, drawn 2 and accumulated 47 points to continue to lead the Premier League table, and Liverpool have 5 wins, 6 draws and 8 defeats with 21 points, hovering in the middle and lower reaches of the league. Liverpool's new manager Klopp has achieved 3 wins, 3 losses and 3 draws since taking office, which is not good or bad in the team's run-in period. Leicester City centre-back Hutter has returned to the squad compared to the previous round. Leicester City continues to use 4-4-2, and Liverpool still maintain a 4-2-3-1 formation with Origi as a single arrow. The broadcast camera was given to Chu Feng, who scored twice in the last round against Everton and scored goals and assists, and his form was hot. The game is about to start, let's look forward to Chu Feng's performance today. Jean June is a fan of Liverpool of the Red Army, and when facing Chu Feng, who is also a Siagua, to be able to play against Liverpool, Jean June is very excited. Although he hesitates, he still firmly supports Chu Feng's victory. The barrage in the live broadcast room began to discuss Chu Feng again. Finally here? Finally here? Chu Feng finally had to face the last Premier League strongman. Liverpool were 3-0 to Watford in the last round and can play Leicester City in this form? Although Liverpool are not in very good form right now, Leicester City is not in good shape either. They were locked up by Everton in the last round, but they just couldn't seize the opportunity, and if they faced Liverpool, they might be kicked into a sieve. I have the god to Chu Feng, back to the Red Army Liverpool. I don't care, Chu Feng will win, Chu Feng will be bullish. Both sides guessed the coin to determine the direction of the goal. With referee Martin Atkinson's whistle, game begins. Leicester City kick-off. Vardy passed the ball back to Andy King in the middle of the circle. Leicester City then began a tentative attack. Leicester City advanced to the right of the Liverpool penalty area. Midfielder Andy King, who was watched on the right sideline, passed the ball back to midfielder Schlupp. After Schlupp stopped the ball with his left foot, he continued to pass back to Ayew Brighton in the middle. The unguarded Alberton did not know what to think, and even at a distance of more than 30 yards, he directly bombarded the door, but unfortunately did not suppress the football. The ball flew straight to the Liverpool fan stands. Immediately Liverpool counterattacked. Liverpool defender Henderson directly long passed and hoisted directly to Liverpool centre-forward Origi to speed up the chase. Just as Origi was about to chase the ball, goalkeeper Kasper struck out and shoveled the ball out of the box. Liverpool striker Lalana on the right took the ball under control. Fullback Fox stepped forward to intercept. Lalana had the ball in possession and crossed it from the bottom, but was knocked to the ground by Fox, and the ball was also intercepted. The two sides launched an attack on each other at the beginning, familiarizing themselves with each other's rhythms. 15th minute of the game. Liverpool fullback Klein carried the ball at the Leicester City half. Faced with a tentative push from Mahrez, a straight kick pierced through three Leicester City players. Liverpool defender Henderson received the ball on his back, and two penetrated Leicester-spotted players Xian chased after him. Henderson began to slow down at the edge of the penalty area, attracting centre-back Hutter and full-back Fox from the edge of the penalty area. Shoved the ball straight into Lalana at the bottom. After Lalana controlled the ball, he observed his teammates in the middle of the road, and directly crossed the ball across the middle of the road and inserted Firmino under Morgan's interference, with a right foot to block Morgan, directly hit the goal. Goalkeeper Kasper, who was blocked from view, did not have time to block it, and the ball flew straight to the net. Goal. Phil Milo opened the scoring. Phil Milo rushed to the sidelines excitedly, jumping high and swinging his fists. Teammates in the back also rushed to hug him. Celebrating goals. Liverpool fans at Anfield also began to cheer wildly. The Liverpool flag was also wildly waved by them. Finally, the Red Ocean began to surge. The roar of the waves reverberated throughout the Anfield Stadium. John's Premier League broadcast station. Henderson carried the ball to the edge of the penalty area and tucked the ball into the bottom of Lalana after attracting the attention of Leicester City defenders. Lalana received the ball and watched it out and passed the ball straight back into the middle. Phil Milo. Against Morgan's shot. The ball was in. Goalkeeper Kasper didn't react at all. Phil Milo. For the team at Anfield. Liverpool lead Leicester City 1-0 at home. The narrator explained excitedly. Fans of John's country also began to express their thoughts. I said it. Leicester City is not doing well. I'm super, Liverpool is. Leicester City are ready for their first defeat. Good. Episode 107. Valdi's return gift, Chu Feng's hammer breaks the door. Anfield Stadium. Klopp on the sidelines excitedly wanted to come straight to a set of Farmer 3 punches. Not long after the game began, the team took the lead and Leicester City hadn't been scored in a long time. Maybe Leicester City is really having a physical problem and there's a real chance Liverpool will win this game. Klopp's new arrival at Liverpool is still under a lot of pressure, plus the last 9 games, the performance is average, if it can beat the current Premier League hot Leicester City. Klopp will be under a lot less pressure in the team, so he is very eager for this victory. On the other side, Ranieri looked calm, but his clenched left hand also exposed his inner unease. Leicester City had not broken through the gate in advance for a long time, and in the past, other teams, whether offensive or defensive, would be preemptively attacked by Chu Feng. This time, the gate was suddenly breached in advance, and Ranieri's heart began to feel more and more uneasy. Ranieri began to keep a close eye on the players on the field. 19th minute of the match. Cantor passed the ball to Alberton on the right in the Leicester City front. Faced with an interception by Liverpool defender Henderson, Alberton turned forward and threw himself behind Henderson. Continued to dribble towards the penalty area. As Alberton advanced, Liverpool's other players blocked the line for Alberton to send the ball into the box. Also stuck on the outside of the penalty area, Chu Feng, while you buy other people to take the ball line. After observing it, Alberton took 2 steps in control of the ball and shot directly from a distance. Liverpool goalkeeper Minale tried to save to the left, but the ball jumped high over the crossbar and flew into the audience. Ranieri on the sidelines kept shouting something at the pitch, as if he was dissatisfied with Alberton's random shot. 2 minutes later, Leicester City attacked again. Chu Feng received a long pass from teammate Alberton on the left. Chu Feng faced an interception by Liverpool fullback Klein. Chu Feng stopped and turned around and cut inside the middle road. After facing the siege of 4 Liverpool players, Chu Feng directly slashed at the ground from a distance and shot at the goal. Liverpool centre-back Lovren quickly stretched out his feet and fell to the ground, trying to intercept Chu Feng's sticking slash, but it was too slow, and the ball rolled towards the bottom left corner of the goal. But the distance was too far, the force of the slash gradually decreased, the speed began to decrease, and goalkeeper Minale pounced on the left side of the goal, successfully confiscating the ball. Ranieri on the sidelines side, originally thinking that Chu Feng's long-range shot was going to open up the situation again, and he didn't want to have time to rejoice. Klopp on the other side also breathed a long sigh of relief. It seems that Chu Feng's state today is not also very good, did not play a high-quality long-range shot. Both coaches seemed to think that Chu Feng was more than 3 yards away from the goal, and if he didn't hit a single blow, he was in a bad state, and Chu Feng's strength in their hearts had reached the point of terror. 24th minute of the match. Liverpool's counter-attack. After facing Leicester City's multiple attacks, Liverpool finally had the opportunity to counter-attack. Phil Milo carried the ball in front of Leicester City, facing interceptions from two midfielders, Alberton and Kanté. Firmino kept moving closer to the right, splitting the ball between the henchman and Henderson, who was plugged in on the right, before Kanté reached out and snatched it. Henderson dribbled the ball to the right side of the penalty area, reaching the left and taking advantage of the fact that the defender was not in place. Sweeping the ball straight into the box, Liverpool striker Lalana, who was standing in front of him, jumped inside the Leicester City penalty area, but did not reach the ball and fell directly into the box. The ball continued to cross the head of a Leicester City defender and landed in the middle of the penalty area. Liverpool striker Coutinho grabbed a point and pushed against Leicester City wingback Fox before falling into the box with Fox. Unfortunately, the football went high over the crossbar and flew into the stands of the Liverpool fans. Klopp, with his hands on his head, expressed regret that no one hit the goal and was disappointed that he could not lead Leicester City. On the other side, Ranieri stared expressionlessly at the players on the field. He was waiting for someone to bring a turnaround to Leicester. 28th minute of the match. Mahrez dribbled the ball down the right into the Liverpool half, with Liverpool fullback Morejo holding speed ahead and trying to intercept Mahrez. Mahrez arrived at Liverpool's halftime, did not stick the ball and sent the ball directly to the right side of the penalty area with a clever pass. Originally, Vardy, who ran side by side with Liverpool centre-back Lovren, because Vardy has been controlling the speed to prevent offside, so this foot pass did not cross Vardy directly to accelerate to the football, and the centre-back Lovren could not catch up with Vardy in speed. So he directly returned to the penalty area along the middle of the road to make up for the defense. Vardy controlled the ball on the right side of the penalty area, observing the situation inside the penalty area. Chu Feng and two Liverpool defenders were in the middle of the penalty area, and two defenders wrapped Chu Feng in front of and behind Chu Feng, but there was a certain distance between one defender and Chu Feng. Vardy continued to carry the ball towards the bottom line of the penalty area, repeatedly showing a fake action to shoot, and Klein, a fullback who was originally close to Chu Feng. Therefore, they began to approach Vardy. Vardy picked the ball up to the middle of the road before the goal was about to parallel 927, and the unguarded Chu Feng stepped back, looking for the landing point of the football, and Klein also turned around to try to block Chu Feng. However, Chu Feng, who jumped high in advance, directly sent the ball into the goal with a head mallet, and the goalkeeper who originally relied on the direction of Vardy was unable to stop this header. Goal. Chu Feng's header hit the goal. Equalized. Chu Feng rushed to the sidelines, and under the stands of the fans who went out with the team in Leicester City, Chu Feng slipped and got up on his knees, constantly waving his right fist. Leicester City fans are also constantly cheering, responding to Chu Feng's celebration. The teammates behind him also accelerated towards Chu Feng, and a group of people embraced into a big circle. After the hug, Vardy said to Chu Feng, "I gave you the goal of the last game." Chu Feng smiled at him, patted Vardy's back, and replied that he knew. The two laughed together. And the cheers of more than 1,000 Leicester City fans who accompanied the team finally fell silent in Liverpool fans and reverberated at Anfield Stadium. Chu Feng. Chu Feng. Chu Feng. The entire Anfield Stadium echoes Chu Feng's name. Episode 108. Chu Feng may kite twice. Klopp's helplessness. Anfield Stadium. Klopp on the sidelines had a hint of loss on his face, and not long after taking the lead, he was equalized by Chu Feng. Chu Feng's fullness was once again displayed in front of Klopp: excellent foot technique, terrifying speed, and offensive organization ability, and the ability to terminate, because Chu Feng's all-round arsenal also became quite terrifying. Klopp was also not brought down by a single equalizer, and as long as Liverpool can continue to maintain their pre-opening form, it is only a matter of time before the Leicester City goal is breached again. On the other side, Ranieri's clenched fist finally loosened, and with Chu Feng's equalizing header, Ranieri also relaxed. Ranieri also believes that it is only a matter of time before Leicester becomes the first to achieve the status quo. Summer Kingdom. Premier League broadcast room. Vardy's anti-offside success. Chase the football on the right side of the penalty area. Vardy keeps pushing towards the bottom line. Vardy is going to hit the door. Pass to the middle. Chu Feng ran out of the empty seat. Vardy picked the ball towards the middle when the goal was almost at a zero angle. With pregnant. Chu Feng adjusted his position and jumped high. A powerful head hammer sends the ball into the net. Chu Feng's contribution to Leicester City at Anfield. The head hammer weighs more than the June. Who can stop? Leicester City away to Liverpool. Originally, after taking the lead because of Liverpool's goal, Jean-June emotions as a Liverpool fan became a little complicated, but because of Chu Feng's goal, Jean-June began to get excited again. The barrage of arguments in the live broadcast room began to roll wildly again. Just then that, said Chu Feng was going to lose. Punch in the face, don't punch in the face. Chu Feng. Vardy finally assisted Chu Feng whining. Chu Feng jumped is also really gawe. Who said Leicester City was going to lose? As long as his teammates can hold on, Chu Feng alone can impact Liverpool's goal. Although Chu Feng equalized, but still have to be careful, Liverpool's current scoring ability is not weak. It is true that the physical reserves of the other players in Leicester City have indeed dropped seriously, and you really have to be careful in the back games. 31st minute of the match. Liverpool finally threatened Leicester City goal once again. Liverpool fullback Klein carried the ball on the left side of Leicester City's half. Chu Feng stepped forward to grab it, and Klein directly passed the ball to the middle. Liverpool centre forward Prodigy pushed off Andy King with his back. Then carry the ball on your back. Remove the ball from the chest. Leicester City defenders all headed towards the edge of the penalty area. Prodigy knew the Leicester City players behind him and had difficulty holding the ball when he turned around. So I waited for Coutinho on the left to plug in. Wiped the ball straight to Coutinho. Coutinho was also not polite after receiving the ball, directly bombarding the goal, but it was too far away, although the football crossed all the defenders and flew towards the goal. Or was easily confiscated by goalkeeper Casper. A minute later, Leicester City attacked. After attracting a number of defenders on the right, Schlupp sent a foot straight to the right side of Mahrez to firmly control the ball and continue to carry the ball towards the bottom line. Liverpool fullback Moreno stood on the edge of the penalty area instead of pressing forward, but chose to stand where he was, blocking Mahrez's line into the box. Mahrez's direct cross was met by Vardy, who completed the shot with interference from two Liverpool defenders in the penalty area. But because of the disturbance of the Liverpool defender, he did not press it and kicked the ball into the Liverpool audience. The perhaps fierce physical confrontation just inside the penalty area made Vardy's right foot a little crampy. Vardy stretched his right leg in place to ease the pain before moving on to the 35th minute of the game. Liverpool were given a corner kick. Coutinho, who has no clear advantage in height, serves a corner kick from the left. Coutinho hoisted the ball straight into the middle of the penalty area, and Chu Feng at the front point released the ball to the back point in a scramble with Firmino. The ball leaped high in the penalty area, and Liverpool defender Henderson, under the influence of Leicester City defenders, could only ferry the ball back into the middle. Unguarded Prodigy, in order to prevent Leicester City defenders from blocking, directly volleyed. Unfortunately, he did not take the opportunity and shot the ball into the fan stands. There was also a cry of surprise. Prodigy was also annoyed at the fact that he had wasted such a good opportunity, and turned and walked towards his own half. Klopp on the sidelines was also quite depressed, but he couldn't blame anything, just kept shouting on the sidelines, asking the players to hurry up and defend. Prepare for Leicester's next round of attacks. A minute later, Alberton carried the ball in the middle of Liverpool's half. Henderson stepped forward to press forward, and under Henderson's pressing, Alberton could only hurriedly pass the ball to Andy King on the left. Andy carried the ball towards the Liverpool penalty area and, after swinging past a Liverpool player, came to Andy King on the edge of the penalty area. Sending a clever pass, the ball passed through the gap between Liverpool's two defenders and came to the feet of Chu Feng on the left side. At this time, three Liverpool defenders began to turn to Chu Feng, and one player still intercepted the pass and inserted Ayujan in front. Chu Feng super accelerated forward and rushed into the small penalty area, although the four Liverpool defenders behind him were already close to him. But Chu Feng and the goalkeeper have directly formed a single knife, facing the goalkeeper's interception. Chu Feng directly to the goalkeeper Minal crotch, right foot push shot. Minale closed the door and was already being crossed by the crotch of the ball, which hit the side netting. Goal. The ball was scored. Chu Feng once again completed the goal. finished the second degree. Helped Leicester City overtake Liverpool. The whole Anfield Stadium was quiet. Chu Feng rushed to the side of the field excitedly, shouting at Leicester Qingban to cook. The victory of this game, Chu Feng is more important than others, and he is also much more excited after the score. The Leicester City players, who came from behind, rushed over and hugged Chu Feng. Even goalkeeper Casper, who was unable to arrive, was inside the goal, celebrating the Foxes to the Liverpool fans. Episode 109. The goal of the whistle. Scumbag Klopp's strike back. Anfield Stadium. Klopp was a little frustrated on the sidelines, facing that as long as Chu Feng attacked the penalty area, he would score goals, and the players who were already unguarded could still fly the ball. However, the lack of physical fitness of Leicester City players is still very reflected, and Liverpool can always easily break into the heart of Leicester City. So Klopp can only clap his hands to encourage his own players. After the score on the other side finally rebounded, Ranieri clenched his hands and kept shaking the strong offensive ability embodied by Chu Feng, which constantly gave Ranieri the confidence to win over Liverpool. Siagua. Premier League broadcast room. Andy King pushed into the penalty area with the ball, attracted the defenders, and stuffed the ball into Chu Feng. Chu Feng burst into the small penalty area with the ball, faced the single knife with goalkeeper Minale, calmly pushed the shot, and the football passed through the. Chu Feng has completed the second degree of Meikai. Once again for Leicester City. Leicester City beat Liverpool 2-1 away. As a Liverpool fan, Jean June, as long as he faces the goal of 517 Chu Feng, he still can't help but get excited. The barrage in the live broadcast room also rolled up. How long did it take for Chu Feng to overtake the score twice? Chu Feng. I'll just say it, Chu Feng is a powerful killer. As long as his teammates can hold on, Chu Feng can tear Liverpool's defense apart. But Leicester City's players are physically weak, and it's still obvious. Klopp will definitely stare at this and attack the seal. I don't understand, I know Chu Feng scored a goal. Chu Feng. Chu Feng, come on. For a short time left in the first half, Liverpool began their frenzied counterattack. 38th minute of the match. Liverpool centre-forward Origi forced aside fullback Fox on the right side of Leicester City's penalty area. Moving toward the bottom line of the penalty area, centre-back Morgan kept tangling with him, not letting Origi control the ball. As the ball was about to draw the line, Origi fell to the ground and forced the ball back, returning to the box 4 times. Lalana controlled the ball at the edge of the small penalty area, and at this close distance, Lalana chose to push and shoot. He was pushed out by goalkeeper Casper. A minute later, Liverpool sped up their attack. Advancing again to the outskirts of the Leicester City penalty area, Coutinho made a special kick on the left side of the box. Hoisting the ball into the box, centre-forward Origi jumped high among the 2 Leicester City players, but the ball was too high for Origi to rub and couldn't play hard. The ball turned and flew out of the box. Last minute of first half stoppage time. The Liverpool defender spread the ball forward and Origi's header sent the ball back to Firmino. For Leicester City players around Phil Milo began to wrap up in his bags. Phil Milo went straight through the 2 players who had blocked already in front of him, and the 2 players who defended Origi. The ball was sent to the left. Coutinho on the left pulled off Danny Simpson under the watchful eye of fullback Danny Simpson. Charge into the penalty area. Danny Simpson, who was thrown away, and the 2 Leicester City players who had originally defended Origi began to frantically return to the defense. Finally, Coutinho, distracted by Danny Simpson, suddenly fired a cool push into the far corner of the penalty area. Goalkeeper Casper couldn't save and the ball went into the net. Goal. In the last minute of the first half. The red ocean of the entire Anfield Stadium began to surge again. The whole course began to resound again with the roar of the red ocean. Coutinho also rushed to the sidelines to celebrate the equalizer with the fans. The teammates who followed him also jumped up to his back. Klopp on the sidelines also stood up excitedly and shook his fist with one hand, interacting with the Liverpool fans. On the other side, this twist and turn game made Ranieri a little unbearable. John's Premier League broadcast station. Firmino's brilliant kick pierced through 4 Leicester City players and sent the ball to Coutinho. Coutinho starts. Throwing off fullback Danny Simpson, who was staring at him, straight into the box. Coutinho faces Leicester City players Yusuker and pushes directly into the far corner. The goal is. With the help of Coutinho's goal, Liverpool beat Leicester City 2-2 at home. The commentator excitedly explained the equalizer goal. Fans watching the game also began to argue. I said that Leicester City, even if Chu Feng could score, would not be able to win. Liverpool attacked together, and Leicester City could only shrink and be beaten. Nima just equalized, and I thought it was a reversal. Immediately, Chu Feng scored a goal to overtake you. As long as the second half continues to catch Leicester City's lack of fitness kicks, the more they get to the back, the easier it will be for Liverpool to attack. Liverpool's awesome. We in the Reds Liverpool are invincible. You guys were just beaten 3-0 by Watford in the last round. Invincible. Chu Feng. With Coutinho over the celebration. Referee Martin Atkinson also blew the whistle at the end of the first half. In the locker room, Klopp is still constantly telling the players about the offensive plan in the second half, and the losing players must continue to maintain this offensive rhythm. But Ranieri is asking the backcourt players not to be too aggressive, blindly following the frontcourt players to advance. Leicester City players play more battles, the front of the field rush, the entire formation will move forward. But this will not only consume additional physical energy, but also make it easier for the opponent to counterattack and score points. After intermission. Once again, the players came to the pitch to start the second half. 48th minute of the match. Liverpool's big foot at the back post carried the ball to the feet of Lalana on the right. Lalana unloaded the ball in the heart of Leicester City and tucked it straight into the Leicester City penalty area. Firmino plugged in the ball at the back post and was unable to cross the ball across the middle of the road due to Klein's restrictions. After reaching the bottom line, Firmino knocked the ball back to Lalana. Lalana lifted her foot straight into the box and sent the ball into the penalty area. Inside the penalty area, Liverpool's back Emre headed the ball into the net and the ball did not fly towards goal, but flew into the stands. Another fantastic counter opportunity Liverpool failed to seize. Episode 110. Chu Feng's hat trick collapsed Liverpool? Klopp on the sidelines held his head in both hands. Today's players always waste opportunities to make Klopp quite unhappy. Match 52nd minute. Leicester City advanced forward to the right of the Liverpool penalty area. Mahrez held the ball and, under the influence of fullback Moreno, passed the ball back to Danny Simpson. Danny Simpson directly and precisely guided the ball into the Liverpool penalty area on the right side of the Liverpool half. Chu Feng at the back point directly bypassed Liverpool centre-back Sakho in front of him. With a header from Liverpool's penalty area, goalkeeper Minale was unable to react and could only subconsciously extend his right arm. Hopefully the ball will be blocked. But the ball slid from his right-hand side and went straight into the net. Goal. Chu Feng once again broke through Liverpool's goal with a header. Completed the hat-trick. Chu Feng rushed to the side of the field again and threw a punch. Shouting at the Liverpool fans. Vent the excitement in your heart. And the desire for victory. Summer Kingdom. Premier League broadcast room. Mahrez passed the ball back to Danny Simpson. After Danny Simpson observed again, he directly guided Chu Feng in the forbidden area with a precise kick. Chu Feng was in the small penalty area, directly heading the next city. Chu Feng completed a hat-trick at Anfield. Facing the six giants of the Premier League, Chu Feng has completed a hat-trick. Past Chu Feng's hat-trick. Leicester City lead Liverpool 3-2 away. Chu Feng's wonderful header made Jean Jun feel excited. The barrage in the live broadcast room began to bombard wildly again. Chu Feng bull. I said that sooner or later Chu Feng would have to surpass Liverpool's. Lying in the grass, Chu Feng scored a hat-trick in the face of the six giants of the Premier League. Awesome Danny Simpson's precise guidance is also quite good, of course. Chu Feng, who scored goals, is even more awesome. Brothers, don't be quiet, now only 1 point ahead. Liverpool's attack is not over, Leicester City's gates have been threatened. What's this? If Liverpool equalizes again, Chu Feng will score another. Chu Feng. On the sidelines, Klopp's expression was a little helpless, and before he could get out of the low of the players wasting their scoring opportunities, Chu Feng gave him another blow. Although Klopp is confident that he can equalize, who knows if Chu Feng will break through Liverpool's goal again? After confronting Chu Feng head-on, Klopp finally understood the dilemma felt by the other Big 6s. It seems that no matter how he targets Chu Feng, he can score goals. Even if he really can't complete the end, Chu Feng will still help his teammates score goals. On the other side, Ranieri shook his fists excitedly again, and although Danny Simpson did not listen to his tactics, he advanced to the Liverpool half. But no matter what victory he wants to answer in the end, it is a victory, so he did not blame the players on the sidelines. The Leicester City players ended the celebration. The Liverpool players were not discouraged by Chu Feng's goal, they knew that sooner or later they would break through the Leicester City goal. Match 56th minute. Liverpool halftime. Liverpool midfielder Phil Milo Ray broke through 4 Leicester City players after breaking the ball on the outside of the Liverpool penalty area. Along the way, it broke through a number of Leicester City players to intercept in a row. It can be seen that the physical fitness of Leicester City players has indeed become a big problem for them. After Phil Milo hit the outside of the Leicester City penalty area, Leicester City's 4 defenders also gradually surrounded him. Phil Milo, after a dazzling cycling action, directly hit the goal. The football flew directly to the stands. Klopp on the sidelines also expressed his amazement at Phil Milo's burst of shots. It's a shame to rush to Phil Milo to play an offensive midfielder. Liverpool fans at Anfield Stadium were also ignited by Phil Milo's operation and began to cheer for the team. Match 62nd minute. Leicester City launched a counterattack. Chu Feng and his teammates have burst into the left side of the Liverpool penalty area, facing 2 Liverpool players in the rear and 1 Liverpool player in front of him. Chu Feng slowly dribbled the ball towards the penalty area, constantly testing the movements of Liverpool centre-back Kaka. Chu Feng suddenly changed direction and knocked the ball to the bottom line, and then accelerated from the left side to chase. Kaka also quickly turned around and restrained Chu Feng, although Chu Feng got rid of Kaka. But the centre-back Lovren, who was already in the penalty area, also came close to him and forced Chu Feng to take the ball out of the bottom line. Chu Feng crossed the ball across the middle of the road, and Lovren fell to the ground to intercept it, but Chu Feng came out faster. Chu Feng still swept the ball towards the middle of the road. Baldi in the middle was too slow to insert and missed the opportunity to score. But Mahrez on the right rushed in, under the interference of Liverpool fullback Murillo. Finished shooting. The goalkeeper had just rushed to the corner to the middle of the goal, and before he could defend, he was breached by Mahrez. Goal. Casually, Mahrez scored the ball. Mahrez also frantically rushed to the sidelines and jumped up and threw his fists in celebration. Chu Feng and the other Leicester City players also ran over to celebrate with him. John's Premier League broadcast station. Chu Feng kept pressing the ball into the Liverpool penalty area, and Chu Feng suddenly changed direction and rushed to the bottom line with the ball. Under the interception of centre-back Lovren, sweep the ball towards the goal. Pity. The unguarded Vardy inserted too slowly and the ball crossed the middle. On the right, Mahrez stepped in and directly completed the shot. The goal is. Mahrez helped the team score. At Anfield, Leicester City lead Liverpool 4-2 away. This is a manifestation of Chu Feng's personal ability, and it is also an opportunity won by Mahrez not running. The narrator evaluates the 2 heroes who scored. Fans watching the broadcast also began to tout it. I'll just say it, Chu Feng is invincible and it's over. The game is not over yet, and 4 more goals have been made. Vardy really couldn't run. Originally he was in that position in the middle, this time he didn't plug in quickly. As long as Leicester City can hold, this Leicester City has won. Gentlemen,